fix myself. Whew. What it do? Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this video is just a story, okay? A story about my experience working in a prison and ultimately why I decided to leave, because I had to bounce. So if this is your first time tuning in with me, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. For all of the regulars, you already know, sit back, chillax. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and let's get into the video. Okay, so boom. My experience working in corrections started when I worked at a county jail as a mental health clerk. Just doing clerical stuff before I graduated from college. Bethune-Cookman University. So I graduated from college, I moved back home, and within corrections, either the state provides healthcare services or you have healthcare companies that provide healthcare services. So I worked for a healthcare service that provided healthcare services inside of corrections, right? Okay, so I stayed with the same healthcare company that I was with while I worked in the county jail. And once I graduated and moved back home, I applied to a prison. And so the position I applied for was a re-entry coordinator. What that means is if an inmate is scheduled to EOS, get out of prison, within 6 months or so, as a re-entry coordinator, I would schedule an appointment with them, conduct an assessment to figure out what are their needs. Do you need a mental health appointment on the outside? Do you need any type of medications? Do you need to recertify for Social Security or disability or things like that? That's the position I applied for. When I got to the interview, I was told that position is no longer available. And so I'm sitting in an interview like, is there no job for me? I got this degree, I'm ready to use it. What's going on? I'm told that position is no longer available. We want you to do groups in CM. And so I'm like, I've recently graduated with a degree in psychology. I'm ready to get some experience underneath my belt. Of course, I would love to do groups. Put me in groups. Let me do some groups. Let me get some experience, right? Mind you, she said, we want you to do groups in CM. I've never worked in a prison, and each facility has different acronyms. I don't know what CM is yet. I accept the position, of course, and I was making around 34,000, 35,000, 34,000 and some change. Break it down, it's probably like 1650. So, I didn't know what CM was, which kind of turned out to be a good thing because I had no preconceived notions about what I was going into. I thought CM was probably just, one of the units on a compound. I had no idea that it meant close management, which means the mental health unit inside of confinement. I'm straight out of college and I'm thrown into a section of confinement. But I don't know this, so I'm just thinking this is just the regular setup of prison, so I'm just chilling. And you know what? I was wondering why, whenever I'm walking around on the compound, going wherever, and someone say, what department are you from? And I say mental health, and they say, oh, you're doing outpatient. I'm like, well, my office is an outpatient, however, I'm in CM. You're in CM? And I'm like, yeah. What's wrong with CM? It's mental health inside of confinement, okay? So my experience in CM was not what people thought that it was. It was phenomenal. Like, I never had an issue out of any of my clients. No matter their diagnosis, no matter their sentencing, I never had an issue. They never disrespected me. I never disrespected them. They never had psychotic episodes when they were in group with me. Like, none of that ever happened. The most people that I could have in a group were 6. And because they're still in confinement, although they have mental diagnosis, while in group, they were like handcuffed to a desk. So that made conducting psychoeducational groups, because that's what I was doing, or psychosocial groups, it made it very difficult, because, you know, I wanted to bring in different tools just to make group fun. It doesn't always have to be, you know, expressing your most traumatic feelings, but it's like, how much can you move when your hands are cuffed to a table? So that kind of made things pretty difficult. So my experience is in CM was phenomenal. However, my experience with the company I was with was just very rocky. Like, I was barely trained. Thankfully, I'm an intelligent person who does phenomenal research, and I ask a lot of questions. So, you know, but I was barely even like given the layout. My 3rd day there, an incident happened and an inmate gets beat up by some officers. Okay. But let's say like around October. So around October, I'm in my office, you know, I got my own office. You know, it's all old stuff in there. Like, the desk is old, the computers are old, like, it's just old stuff. And there's such a hassle trying to bring in like office supplies or office decorations, because when I went to work every day at the prison, I had to go through like prison TSA, you know, take my shoes off, take my jacket off, take off any metal objects. I had to get pat down. You go through a metal detector, and so it's just really hard getting things in prison, as it should be. So I never, you know, bothered to decorate the office that I had. But anywho, office one day, get a phone call from one of the regional directors, and it first started when, so like, I would go and do a group. I would do 2 groups on Monday, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, a group Wednesday, a group Thursday, 2 groups on Fridays, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And so after you complete a group, you know, you would go and you would chart and, you know, do your notes. The note sheet that I was using I was unqualified to use it, but it's what I was given to use. So I received an email with a new note sheet. This is the one that you use since you're doing psychosocial, psycho-ed groups. Cool. Sit in my office, receive a phone call from a regional director. So, you were hired for the wrong position. Come again, say what? I was hired for the wrong position. Now, what does that mean? When I was hired during the interview, when I was told, position you applied for is no longer available, we want you to do groups in CM. So when I was given that information, at the time, which I had no idea, the department was completely understaffed. And I think that at that moment, they were willing to just hire anybody to like get things done. At the time, and still now, I am a bachelor's level professional. Yes, I do phenomenal conducting groups. The inmates love me. My data is always up to par. My notes are always on point. I chart when it's time to chart. I'm competent, all of that good stuff. However, I do not have these certifications to do what I was doing. Well, technically I do, but it's not what was required. So in an area like confinement CM, what is needed in regards to mental health services are clinical trauma-based therapeutic groups. And in order to conduct those type of groups, you have to be a master's level clinician, which I am not, which is why I was not supposed to be doing groups at all. Now, I was doing groups that I was qualified to do, psychosocial, psychoeducational. I was qualified to do those groups. I could do those groups. However, given in that setting, in a confinement setting, those groups are not needed. So that's what that conversation was. So now I'm like, so are y'all firing me? Like, do I need to find another job? Like, what's going to happen? So I was told, because we were understaffed, that I could stay and I could continue doing those groups, just because there were like so many people that had to be seen. So the people in CM had to be seen once every week. I had on the quad that I, was assigned to, I had at least 35 inmates that I had to see every single week. So Monday in the morning, I would try to get 6 people. And in the afternoon, I would try to get 6 people. But sometimes I couldn't get 6 people in the afternoon because somebody else was utilizing a classroom. So I had to do groups in the day room, which I can only have up to 4. So on a good day, Monday, I could see 12 inmates, between 10 and 12. And Wednesday, I try to do 6. And Thursday, I try to do 6. And Friday, so it's like they had to be seen in group once a week. I guess many people don't want to work in a prison because people weren't putting in applications and it took them a while to hire people. But I was told, you can continue doing groups there because we need someone to see them at least until we can hire someone else. And so I said, okay, because I love my job. I don't want to leave my job. But then it dawned on me, when they do hire someone else, where are they going to put me? So a few days later, I received another phone call from like a different person, but still, from regional. And she's telling me about these facilities nearby that are hiring. And I'm just like, I don't want to leave my clients. Like, I don't want to leave this facility and put in another application somewhere else. Although they are all up under the exact same healthcare system, I don't want to leave this facility. And so I'm like, I need to find another job. Like, I need to find me another job because I don't know what type of games they playing. And I don't like feeling unsure when it comes to my money. Maybe like a few days later, I receive a phone call from the regional director. And she asked me, would I be willing to go help another facility conduct groups, because they only have one person doing groups at this particular facility, and that person needed to go on vacation because they work 6 days out of the week. And so I said, sure, I'm down to help. I should have never said yes unless there was more money involved. But I said yes. And so I worked in an outpatient setting, meaning clients came into sort of like a clinic. You come to a clinic or you come to, your doctor's office for your appointment. You see them, they reschedule you, blah, blah, blah. That is an outpatient. Now, an inpatient setting is completely different. And if you ever worked in an inpatient setting, you know exactly what I am talking about, okay? People who are in an inpatient setting can be very unstable. And so I go help out, and my first group, now I'm only used to doing groups up to 6 people because, you know, I work in confinement. Inpatient, my first group was 15 people. And instead of being seen once a week, like in an outpatient setting in confinement, inpatient, they have to be seen every day, 7 days a week, every day. Never again will I ever work in an inpatient setting. It's literally too much. I don't understand why companies who have the money, why won't they just hire more people? Why are you constantly trying to throw around the people that you already have and, you know, have them juggle so many different duties? Why not just hire more people? Because I'm going to say no next time. And that's exactly what I did. And it felt wonderful. The point that made me say, okay, yeah, I definitely need to find another job. So this one guy came in, and I was speaking with my coworker, and she said, you know, did you meet the new guy? And I'm like, no, I haven't got a chance to. And she said, he's the person that's going to be doing groups now in CM. And I'm like, he's my replacement? First and foremost, I'm like, I know my clients. First of all, this is a woman's facility. They are not going to respond well to a man. Like, no woman is going to want to sit in front of a male doctor in a therapeutic group and express the time they got raped by their dad. It's just not going to happen. Like, they hired somebody to replace me, and they haven't told me what I'm going to be doing. So, like, what is supposed to happen to me? Like, what are y'all going to do with me? Well, the idea that was pitched to me was I was always going to be removed from CM because I'm not qualified to do groups in there. And so the idea that was pitched to me was, let's put her in the break room and have her do outpatient groups and have a call out. So where the printer is always printing, that's where the refrigerators are, that's where the Keurig is. Like, the whole team is in and out of the break room. I don't like, that's not a productive place to conduct groups. And so I kind of just felt like I wasn't appreciated enough. I felt like I didn't have an official stable position title because my position changed so many times. At first, I was the reentry coordinator. Then I was the aftercare specialist. Then I was the mental health activity therapist, which I liked the most. So I just felt like, unlike everybody else in my department, I felt like I was just being tossed to the side and, you know, just, oh, we can just put her here and and it's like, no, you can't handle me like that. I may only have a bachelor's, but I have experience. I'm extremely competent. I know what I'm doing, and I do a good job at what I do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't just throw me anywhere, sweetie. You can't handle me like that. And I don't appreciate that. So I was one of those people who went to work and I was looking for jobs. When I put in my 2 weeks, right? I put in my 2 weeks. Now, when I first got hired, the week that I started, the director completely quit. The director of my department quit. And then maybe 2 months later, our senior psychologist, our supervisor, she quit. So for about 5-6 months, the entire department did not have a supervisor, a director, nothing. We didn't get one until like February. And so I put in my 2 weeks, and the new director, who is so awesome, I wish I could have stayed longer just to see like her growth, because she was just amazing. She came to me and she was like, what the heck? And I'm like, girl, I know, but you ain't been here, so you don't know. I was told they're willing to negotiate. And so I'm feeling like they willing to negotiate. I'm valuable. And so, the director was just telling me how valuable I am, how I'm extremely essential to the team, how, the inmates absolutely love me, and that they didn't want to lose me because I do an amazing job. And so they wanted to know, can they negotiate? And I said, sure. And they asked, what are your demands? More money. Because when I first accepted the position, I attempted to negotiate immediately. What's the highest we can go? You're offering me this. Well, what about this? And I was told that given my education level and my experience level, this is the highest that they could go. However, sometime along the line, I could get a raise. And so I'm thinking, I done been here 7 months. Like, what it gotta be? 5 years? So I want more money. I want a official position and job title. Like, none of that, we can just put her here. No, like, and they said, cool. So at this time, I'm sharing the office with the actual reentry coordinator that we have on our team. And this is like the kicker. She had been there for 12 years, right? I made more money than her. And I just think that's kind of sad. But what's even more sad, because I don't know if sadder is a word, the director came to me and she said, what if we split her responsibilities with you but pay you more? First of all, I don't even want to do what she do. I'm overly qualified to be doing what she do now that I've been in confinement, conducting psychosocial, psychoeducational groups. No, I don't want to, what I consider to be a downgrade, helping to prepare inmates to get out. No, I'm on this clinical rise and I want to stay on that. And I just thought that I was just really rude. She's literally like the longest employee that's been in the department, and not only do you want to split her caseload, which she barely has one, and give it to me, but you want to pay me more for it. I just didn't think that that was, okay. So I bounced. The only thing that really tore me up inside, because I cried on my last day, was my clients. Like, working in a prison has taught me, well, first of all, I always had the attitude to never judge people. Never judge a book by its cover, because you just never know what's inside. You never know people's story. You never know what people have gone through. Like, you just never know. And I got to know some amazing women. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, yeah, that's why I decided to leave the prison. I